Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. In today's video I am doing a review of the Holbein Artist's Gouache Primary Colour Mixing Set. Gouache is a water-based paint which is slightly thicker and more opaque than watercolours. In this set there are 5 15mm tubes and the colours are magenta, yellow, cyan, black and white. The set cost me £23.50 from Jackson's Art. I recently looked it up on Amazon and it cost a little bit more than that, but I'm sure you can find it in most good art shops for around between £20 and £30 or whatever the equivalent is in your currency. So as you can see me swatching out here, I am going to do a bit of colour mixing, and while I'm doing that I'll just tell you a little bit about each of the paints. So the yellow has the pigments PY3 and PY74. It is a semi-transparent paint and the light fast rating is 2 stars, which is the lowest of all of the ratings for these paints. Or I guess you can have 1 star, but in these 5 colours it's the lowest one. The magenta is has pigment PR122. It's also semi-transparent and has a light fast rating of 3 stars. The cyan has pigment PB15 and is a semi-opaque paint and a light fast rating of 3 stars. The white is pigment PW6. It is semi-opaque and has a light fast rating of 4 stars. And the black is PBK7 and this one is opaque and has also a light fast rating of 4 stars. So the black and the white are the most light fast and the yellow is the least light fast in this set. The consistency of the paint was really smooth and I needed just a little water in order to be able to really easily move the paint around the page, and it was very easy to mix lots of different colours from this set, and it also included a chart on how to mix and the ratios of paint that you need if you don't really have that much knowledge of colour mixing. Because the set uses magenta, cyan and yellow instead of the red, blue and yellow as its primary colours, you get really nice, clean, vibrant colours when you mix them. And you'll see in a few moments when I mix a purple between the magenta and the cyan just what I mean. Often when you mix a purple with normal red and blue paints, you get a really horrible brown kind of purple, which is not really a purple, but these colours were just beautiful. So once I was done mixing the colours on my colour wheel, I then went back round and added a little dash of white to each one of them, and I painted that on the inside of the colour wheel. I really loved the colours that you could get in this way, really beautiful pastel colours, and adding that touch of white just made the paints a little bit more opaque as well, so that I had more flexibility when I go on to paint my speed paint later on, as you'll see. And once I'd done testing everything on the white paper, I then also decided that I would test them on some black card. So the top row, as you'll see in a minute, is just how they look straight out of the tube, and here it is a lot more obvious the transparency and semi-opaqueness of most of the paints because they don't fully cover the black paper. And then on the second row is with the white added, and then you can clearly see how the white really helps to make them a lot more opaque. And the third row is then just doing some different colour mixes and different swatches and seeing the different colours that I can make with them. So then after I'd done that, the following day I came back to my colour wheel and I decided to test the reactivation of the paint. And with just a little water it was very easy to reactivate this paint, which has both pros and cons. Pros that if you make a mistake then you can very easily fix it even a while afterwards. Cons is that if you try to paint over an area and maybe add more detail, you do risk reactivating the paint underneath. And this is something that happened a couple of times in the speed paint, which you'll see in a minute, and it was something that I wasn't really sure quite how to deal with. It may just be something that I need to practice and learn how to deal with it. But anyway, here is the Speedpaint, and this is done on a sample of Botanical Ultra Smooth paper. It is 300 GSM and it's a hot press paper. It was really lovely paper to use on with this gouache. It didn't buckle at all, it was really smooth surface and took the paint really well, and it gave a nice flat finish. So I used the paints I'd created the day before for the colour swatching, and they reactivated very easily on the palette. The only thing with reactivating the paints is that they do become a little thinner, because obviously you're adding more water to them. So if you want the thicker layer, then it is best to use them fresh from the tube. But overall, I really enjoyed using these paints. I found them a little easier to control than watercolours, apart from just a few reactivation issues, which is probably more of a user error than something that's wrong with the paints. But anyway, they can be bought in sets like I bought, or open stock, and they come in 89 different colours. Open stock, they are £5.40 on the Jackson's Art Store. I have not had a look at how much they cost on Amazon or any other websites, and they are comparable in price to Winsor & Newton designer gouache, and they are cheaper than many watercolour tube paints. The paint also goes a really long way, so I have a feeling that these tubes are actually going to last me quite a while. And of course you don't necessarily need all the different colours, as it is easy to mix from the primary set. I was a little puzzled at first as to why these paints weren't opaque, when gouache is often described as an opaque watercolour. However, a little research says that Holbein don't actually add any opaquing agents to their gouache, and you can remedy this quite well by adding a white paint. It does make them a little bit more pastel, but it does make them also opaque. But anyway, I really enjoyed using this set, and I love the flat matte finish that you can create with them. I feel like I need to use them a little bit more to understand if this reactivation issue is actually an issue. But I would definitely recommend it as a good set to start with, and when you want to test out the gouache anyway, so that you don't have to fork out lots of money for lots of different colours to start with. Anyway, I really hope that this information was helpful. I'd love to hear if any of you guys have had experience using a gouache paint, either this set, or if you have experience of other sets of gouache, or even if you've got experience of the different, like the acrylic gouache, because that shouldn't reactivate, so maybe that's something that I can test out in the future. So I really hope that you have enjoyed this video. Please feel free to like it if you liked it, and if you're new here, then I really hope that you like what you see and that you choose to subscribe. I make weekly art videos with a variety of different art media and different styles. So I really hope you have a great week, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!